Welcome everyone to actually, this is Christmas Sunday if you go to church. Some of y'all probably don't. But this will be Christmas Sunday in anybody's Baptist church. And I grew up in a Baptist church, so everybody, we're not going to give y'all too many speeches or too many Christmas plays. However, this is our Christmas edition of Two Guys and a Mic. I am your host, and as you can tell, I am excited as hell right now. I am RP.
And I'm your other host, Big Sean. It's another victory Sunday for the Cleveland Browns. Moved to 10-4, one step closer to clinching a playoff spot after defeating the New York Football Giants 20-6.
So, you want to start with our toast, or you want to go into the show?
Well, I don't have anything to toast but some Crystal Light right now.
Man, listen, that is the worst answer that It's a bunch of things you've said to me that I've always disliked or didn't want to hear. That could be the worst thing ever. At 10-6,
I haven't had one drop of alcohol today.
No, that's good. Because honestly, I didn't drink until the game started, actually.
Okay.
I haven't had anything since yesterday. At some point earlier yesterday, me and my wife went out to have some food, and I had a beer there, but then I didn't drink anything all the way up to the game. So, but because we won, I'm like, man, I gotta have a victory.
Yeah, the only thing I have here is I have some strawberry and peach Crystal Light.
Well, listen, don't ever bring down my Crown Apple with your Crystal Light, sir.
It's pretty tasty too, and it's 0 calories.
And it's 0 calories.
0 calories. I'm being responsible.
All right. Well, I'm taking a drink in homage to my Cleveland Browns for the first time since 2007, winning 10 games. We haven't seen this in 13 years, people. It sounds ridiculous. The truth is, Cleveland Browns have been ridiculous.
Yes.
So
very.
Thank you, Cleveland Browns. Thank you, Kevin Stefanski. Thank you, Andrew Berry. Thank you, Baker Mayfield. Thank you. Hell, we even got to thank the owners, man.
We still can't give the thanks yet until we clinch. Once we clinch.
I didn't say, hey, we won the playoffs. What I said was we got 10 wins, and guess what? I'm used to 10 losses. Yeah. Thank you for getting me 10 wins. Now, when we get to the playoffs, that's a whole nother situation. But for right now, I am excited. If I recall correctly, you were worried about this game. You know, as you should have, because I
thought it would be a trap game. But you know what though? Last night, as I was thinking, going into a game like this with a must win, I thought about it. I'd much rather go into the Meadowlands than to go into a city where we have a hard time winning. Like if it was Pittsburgh or Denver or
Baltimore,
where else don't we win? Like Seattle, like those cities, like those teams that who we historically don't beat.
Arizona,
right? Yeah, for whatever reason, we go out to Phoenix. We don't never win out there. I thought about it. I was like,
I don't care how bad they are.
Right. And I was like, well, New York, we always do okay, pretty decent against them. So it kind of made me feel better going into the game. And pretty much, we handled business from beginning to end. I remember one thing we said with Freddie Kitchen calling plays was that he was going to try to do too much. And damn it, that's exactly what he did.
First drive down? That right. Fake
that weird fake field goal. I just busted out laughing as soon as I went into that formation. I was like, "Thank you, Freddie Kitchen." Just ruined that whole drive because they drove right down the field on us.
Look, they moved that ball. I was so pissed off during that first drive, not at the end of it, but the way that they moved the ball. Like they just consistently, like you just looked up, boom, they go 5 yards there, boom, they go 6 yards there, Boom, here's another 10 yards. Boom, here's another 12 yards. Oh, it's 3rd and 5. Oh, they got 7. It's like the whole drive, I was like this, like, these dudes are about to freaking do this, huh? Like they really about to do this. And then they got down into the red zone, and the Browns kind of they kind of bucked up a little bit and showed their wares for a second. And then I'm like, okay, well, if I'm the Giants, you just take that field goal, right? Not Freddie. Freddie say, nah, man. Here's the play we're gonna run right here. We're gonna do this fake field goal with the holder throwing. What?
Right.
What? And that was on purpose?
He threw one of the worst passes I've ever seen in my life.
Listen, that dude he didn't stand a chance. Nobody on the field stood a chance of catching that ball. Not in the field of play anyway.
Right.
But let's get into, because we can get off on that tangent. But let's talk about what we discussed as our keys of the game, going back to our Thursday show. So for myself, one of the keys was, could Kevin Stefanski get out of his way and call a regular game, not find himself consumed with trying to make kind of what Freddie was doing today, doing the most. You don't have to do the most sometimes. Sometimes doing simple is doing the most. And can you just stick to the game plan, which is running the ball, even if it's not working? We still have a good offensive line. We still have a good running game. You just have to stick to it, because without the running game, you don't have the play action stuff.
Right.
My other key was the defense. That the defense had to find a way to just make a play when it matters, and I would say that the defense did that today. I think the defense,
yeah, they did
a lot of plays in a lot of situations where it mattered a lot. And that's not me doing the hyperbole. I think these guys showed up, and you'll find that out once I pass out a few of these game balls. And then my other key was just running the ball. Like, you just have to be committed to the run. If you're going to be a play action team, if you're going to be a team that runs play action 2 out of every 4 plays, then you're going to have to run the ball. So today we did that. We weren't like super effective, but the Giants are really, really good against the run. So it may not have looked like it was effective, but the Giants had to pay attention to Nick Chubb, and they had to pay attention to Kareem Hunt. They both actually ran solidly today. So I think, in terms of whatever our keys, well, my keys were, at least, I think we pulled all of those things off. What about you, bro?
And my keys were kind of a little bit broader. I didn't really go too in depth with mine. So basically, one of mine was just I wanted to see, like, on the defensive side of the ball, Joe Woods kind of dial up some different things to kind of confuse, Colt McCoy, some different looks, bring some pressure, things like that. And then offensively, I just said we needed just to get back to basics, kind of like, starting with the run game and then doing the play action, have everything else coming off of the run. I kind of left it at that and just said we just needed to just show up and handle business. And so as far as defensively bringing different exotic looks, no, we didn't do that. They pretty much played a vanilla defense for the most part, kind of like a bend don't break defense. That's kind of what I took from it. The Giants were moving the ball quite effectively, but we would make a play here and there. And we had a big 4th down stop on their second drive.
That killed their
drive.
That was huge. And inside the goal line, by the way, too.
Right.
So that was inside the red zone, rather. Like right around about the 6-yard line. That was huge.
Right. Like we didn't force any turnovers or anything like that, but we kind of like stalled out a few of their drives. And that's all you can ask for. Like, as raggedy as our defense is, all you can ask for them is to stave off the bleeding. Make a play when you have to, and they did. So I'm fine with that. On the offensive side, man, Baker was phenomenal today. This are all the Baker haters out there. It's not, and
And they
it's not
still
even
out
about.
there.
It's
And
not
they
even
still out
about
there, bro.
him. It's just like if you're a Browns fan, even if you, for whatever reason, you don't like Baker Mayfield, you should still be happy that this dude is performing at a high level. Man, his confidence right now is off the charts.
They still out there though, bro. Like I saw guys, and some of these guys are just trolling. I get that.
Right.
Because some people are just trolls. And then I also know some people that are they're Ravens fans. So their hope, to be honest, is that we lost today. Because if we lose today, we're 9-5 with them and with Miami. So we basically fall out of the playoffs.
Right.
With the loss today. Had we lost against the Giants, we fall completely out of the playoffs into that top right outside of the playoff charts. And then Miami and the Ravens jump up pretty high. So we get stuck, hoping that something happens to them.
Right.
So some of my friends are Ravens fans. So some of their trolling is very strategic. They're just hoping that, Baker, Baker versus Colt McCoy. This is Colt McCoy versus Colt McCoy 2.0. Man, is you kidding me?
Right. Exactly.
Are you kidding me? Have you ever seen Colt McCoy play football? And not just, listen, and Colt McCoy didn't play awful today.
No, he didn't play awful.
So it's not about him being awful. It's not about me trying to give Colt McCoy a hard time. It's really about knowing and understanding football, which is why these guys are trolls. Right. Because if you know football, you know that Colt McCoy ain't never did nothing that was beyond what he did today, which is manage a football game. Because he's won a couple games for us too. But all he's ever really done is manage a game. He ain't actually won a game. He's just not lost a game.
Right.
So, these guys, these people, these Baker, perpetual Baker haters, which I guess if you go back and listen to our early stuff, you might even call us Baker haters. But if you listen to our actual show and listen to how we actually push our show, as hard as we've been on Baker, we've also given Baker every avenue to be a good quarterback that, especially if he earned it. And over the last, let's say 5 or 6 weeks, Baker has earned that shit. I don't know what nobody else is talking about. I don't know what nobody else is looking at. But Baker Mayfield has earned his stripes over the last, say, half of the season or 75% of the season.
Yeah, like his whole demeanor since that Cincinnati game has changed, man. Like you can tell he's comfortable in the offense now, and it's beautiful to watch. I mean, the decision making, he's not thinking. He's dropping back, hitting that back foot, and the ball is coming out, and it's coming out with velocity, pinpoint accuracy, which is one of his problems early in his career, was being consistently accurate. But man, like he was on the money today, and the way that Stefanski called the game, I think he called a beautiful game. He didn't do anything fancy today. We didn't do anything. We may have had like one semi-trick play, I think, to Jarvis, but not really.
It was a much better game plan than what we saw on Monday. I say that.
And even though we weren't really running the ball the way that we normally run the ball, he didn't abandon it completely.
Right.
Still used the play action. Because you can tell the Giants just focused on the running game. Like they focused, that was their MO, and I was fine.
But that's also what they do best too. Like they actually are one of the better run stopping teams. I mean, that front four, those dudes are phenomenal.
Yeah.
Like they're another one of those teams, like kind of like the Steelers and kind of like the Ravens, who can lose a guy and you don't even know that they lost a guy. Like they don't.
Right.
They just keep guys in a steady rotation in terms of defensive ends, defensive tackles. They just keep these guys coming. So you're absolutely right. These guys were all over our run, but Stefanski's game plan just kind of stayed consistent. I think it was more cohesive than what I saw on Monday. And I liked what I saw today.
And I'm gonna tell you something that I'm impressed with. How the Browns overcome little bouts of adversity here and there.
Mhm.
Can't remember what quarter it was. It may have been the third quarter. We were driving down, got down to maybe like the 2 or 3 yard line. Then you got a personal foul on one of the offensive linemen on Conklin for a
Oh yeah,
clip,
they clip it.
like a
He clipped.
illegal
Yeah, he
block.
clipped him. He did clip him. He did.
Right, he did. Pushed us back 15 yards. Come back with a play, get down there again.
Got
And we
right back
get what
down to the 2.
you get a false start, something like that, push us back. And then we still scored. Like in the past,
Oh, it
once you
was
got
over
that
with.
15-yard penalty, you just chalk it up to a field goal. We probably would even blown the field goal. But
We
now when you
probably,
have little bouts of adversity,
we
they're
probably
able
would have
to,
blown the field goal.
yeah,
We
they're
might have
able to
just penalty,
overcome.
or last year we would have probably just penaltied ourselves out of field goal range.
Right, exactly.
Like just a complete implosion. So I agree with that, bro. You're right. You're right.
And that's
Like
a reflection on the coach. Like there's no panic with the Browns. Even when the Giants started off, coming down the field, it's no panic. Like, oh man, here we go. Nothing.
But you have to have some direction. And where does the direction come from? It has to come from the coach, right? Or as a guy who played football, your first direction always comes from whoever is coaching your side of the ball. So your defensive coach or your offensive coach, your positions coach. But that's still a trickle down from the top. You know what I mean? Like, so if I'm a DB, my coach is giving me certain feelings about what I do. Okay, I'm with him. But then when you go to your defensive meeting, he's echoing the same thing that your positions coach is talking about. So you start to say, oh, okay. Then you just go to a team meeting and the head coach is saying the same exact, you know what I mean? Like it's the cohesion that we have not had in the 20 years that we've been back, bro. It's a cohesion from top to bottom that we have not had since we've been back in Cleveland, which was actually in 99, 2000. So we're really like in our 21st season.
Yeah, we finally have a team. We have guys that don't have
a team.
Guys don't have an agenda.
We actually have a team.
You can even see a guy like Njoku, who doesn't get many catches, but he's in there picking up players. You can see he's excited when we score.
And he wanted to get traded. Like this is a dude that's and could easily be internally in some level of turmoil because maybe he likes the guys, but he don't want to play for this team. But what does he do? The last 2 weeks, all he's done is go out and catch pass after pass after pass and get where he needed to get every time he was called on. And it doesn't look like he wanted to be traded right now. So again, that's a testament to the guys that they have leading that locker room from the coaching standpoint, but it's also a testament to the players that are in that locker room, because the players in that locker room is like it's almost like, yo, man, if you go out there and play like shit, you're gonna have to answer to Juice, or you're gonna have to answer to Bake. You know what I mean? Like they look like they are a full-fledged team, something that we didn't have. And you used to say this to me all the time in the 20 years past. It's one of your favorite phrases, and you don't. Yeah, and listen, Sean hates cliches and he hates phrases. However, one of his favorite words in the last 20 years was factions. The locker room would break off into factions, and they don't like this dude, and they hate that guy, and they don't like this coach. These are the conversations that you guys probably have never heard because we weren't doing a podcast at that time. But during the last couple of years, Sean, and I'll let Sean elaborate even more once I'm done with this statement. He full-fledged believed that the locker rooms were broken up but that's not happening right now. So Sean, just kind of elaborate on for folks that may not understand what factions or where your angle actually was at that time.
Yeah, it was just like the team had cliques. They weren't a cohesive unit. Everybody had agendas. Like the Browns were known for a while as a team that you could go to cash out because the Browns were going to overpay for free agents, and guys will come here, get a big paycheck, knowing they didn't have to play hard. They weren't held accountable, and I think that caused a lot of friction within the locker room. Like you always heard these stories. Like every Sunday morning, I listened to the pregame show on 92.3 The Fan, and Jason La Canfora would always come on with an update saying how it was some turmoil in the Browns front office. This guy wanted to get along with this guy. Something was going on, and we used to kind of brush it off at first, like, "Oh, y'all just hating on the Browns. Y'all always trying to find something to bring us down." And sure enough, at the end of the season, once all the dirt starts coming out, then it was like what he was saying, was true. So now you see guys actually rooting for each other. They actually want to be here. Just looking at the way that our timing was on offense today, you can tell that it's coming together. These guys are on the same. I mean, it was surgery out there. Even though we only scored 20 points, because we had a couple of drives that stalled or
we probably could have scored 40 points again today.
Exactly. It was a few things that happened that stalled out drives. But the Browns are moving the ball that way, and it was just pinpoint accuracy. The timing was impeccable. Even more so, how well we played against Tennessee in that first half. I think our offense looked a little bit better overall today, just as far as like the crispness, the timing.
Well, I agree.
Better.
You know what? And I didn't think of that. I didn't think about that. But I think you might have a point, bro. And here's why I think that you may be way more right than wrong. Baker was actually playing against a better defensive front today, or as good a defensive front today as he was against the Ravens. And definitely better these last 2 weeks. He's played against a better defensive front than he did against the Titans. And he looked better against the Ravens and the Giants. Like he was when we were at the game on Monday, I was surprised at how well the offensive line handled that. Especially when they did the zero blitz stuff, or when they showed the zero blitz stuff. They just weren't fooled by what the Ravens did, even if they dropped back. But when they dropped back, let's say they showed a zero blitz, but then they dropped 3 or 4 back. Baker didn't look confused. You remember, and we've had this discussion. I used to say that Baker couldn't read defenses.
Right.
And I don't know that I was incorrect. I just don't think that he could read defenses, especially complex defenses. What I think has happened, I'm not going to sit here and say all of a sudden he can read a defense. Here's what I think has happened. I think Alex Van Pelt, I think Kevin Stefanski have, gone to him and really just worked on film. Just watching film and trusting what we do. Not so much being scared of what the other team does, but trusting what we do.
Right.
Like what we just said, the play we just put in there is the play for this defense. Trust us. You know what I mean? And again, I said this a couple of weeks ago. It's hard to trust some shit when you lose it. But all of a sudden you start winning and you start to believe in it. People don't want to listen to this, but there was a time when Michael Jordan didn't want shit to do with the triangle offense because he thought it was going to bother his touches and bother how he affects the game. And Phil Jackson was like, no, if you do this, we'll win. And he said, I bet we won't. And Phil Jackson said, okay, bet, because I know you like to gamble. So bet 6 championships later, I'll guarantee you this dude don't want to do nothing, in terms of his playing career outside of the
Right.
triangle. So saying all that to say, winning kind of does quench every thirst. And I think that that's what happened. I think Stefanski and these guys have won Baker over by winning. If that makes any sense. Does that make
No,
sense?
I think that makes perfect sense, because when you're in any walk of life, let's just say, for example, like me trying to lose weight, right? And you may try different weight loss programs. And sometimes you can get discouraged because you're not seeing results. And somebody may tell you, hey, if you do this, like you drink this apple cider vinegar 3-4 times a day, or if you do this, that, and third, and if you don't see no results, you're not gonna have confidence in it. Like
Right.
when I did Weight Watchers, I was skeptical of Weight Watchers until I started seeing results every week. And I'm saying, okay, so whatever their scientific formula is behind what their process is, it's working. And I bought into it. So even when I'm not doing Weight Watchers, not part of the program or anything like that, I still follow some of those principles because I know it works. And the same thing with,
Yeah,
yeah. So it's
exactly.
the same thing with the Browns now. Now they have a coach, and you can tell early on in the season they didn't know it. They didn't know how the offense worked. They weren't confident in it. They hadn't had an off season to learn it. Now that you're deep into the season, man, I haven't seen our offense move like this on a consistent basis since maybe 2007. And even 2007, remember me and you always talked about 2007. We knew it was fool's gold because we knew how bad Derek Anderson really was, and that Kellen Winslow and Braylon Edwards was bailing that dude out because Derek Anderson was throwing death balls. He was throwing hospital balls. He was trying to get them kills. Kellen Winslow that year was making catches like he was catching a baby out of a burning building. That's how crazy good Kellen, wasn't it? I mean, he was like catching. He was making catches he had no business making because Derek Anderson was just throwing. He was throwing missiles all over the field, and they were just going to get those balls.
Was probably as healthy as he had ever been that year.
Right.
So he was healthy as hell, and we know what he was when he was healthy. Right. We saw him in college. There was nobody in Cleveland is questioning why we drafted Kellen Winslow.
Right.
Before that motorcycle accident, it ain't many people. He was Gronkowski before Gronkowski.
Yep.
He was Gronkowski before Gronkowski. He was the stretch, the field guy. There wasn't a safety in the league that could have guarded him at that time. There wasn't a middle linebacker that could have guarded him at that time because he was too fast for them, and he was too strong for the middle, the safeties,
right,
and stuff like that. He was incredible. I remember when he took over that championship game against Ohio State. And what's my man name? What's my dude name? When he went to the play for Ohio State safety, he went to he got drafted by the Colts. Mike
Doss.
Mike Doss. Listen, Mike Doss was an animal. Mike Doss couldn't do nothing with K2 when he started coming up that field catching them passes. So I agree 1,000% with you. Like in 2007, K2 was K2. Like he had people draped on him. And he was just like, whoop, catch, whoop, catch. Braylon played out of his mind. He wasn't dropping as many passes as he was catching.
Right.
He did drop a lot of passes, but he wasn't dropping as many as he was catching. And they had an incredible safety valve in Joe Jurevicius that people forget about.
And don't forget, we had Jamal Lewis. Jamal Lewis had almost 1,400 yards rushing.
Tippy toes, I like
tippy toes. Right. So so that year, I never felt comfortable with
because we knew that was kind of a patchwork. We knew that certain parts might still be back. Like we thought K2 and Braylon were actual parts that were going to continue to repeat what they had. We didn't believe you and I'll be honest with you, you were one of the few people that did not believe in Derek Anderson the exact same way that I did not believe in Derek Anderson. We didn't believe in Derek Anderson. We didn't believe in Tippy Toes either. And I actually believed in Joe Jurevicius a little bit more than I did anybody else on the, outside of those guys we just mentioned. Because I think that Joe was a professional. Joe gonna show
Right.
up no matter what, unless he hurt.
Right. He was.
And that team was kind of a patchwork. And I agree with you that they don't, like, we knew that there was an end to that, especially with Romeo. Romeo being a defensive coach, he don't know how to keep that kind of stuff together. Romeo didn't know. And the next year, it was the most ridiculous kind of situation that we've ever seen before. Braylon gets hurt, running around with no shoes. I mean, was you in a shower, dog? What are you doing? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it was all downhill early, and it just equaled what we had always known or what we had always feared. I don't believe that about this particular team, though.
No, it's a whole different vibe.
I feel like this team is. I feel like this team is like Marty Schottenheimer's team, and I feel like that 2007 team is Bud Carson's team.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Do you get that?
Yeah,
Thank you.
right.
Thank you. I think that this coach is good enough to put us in winning situations. I think that he's shown Baker that Baker can play different than what Baker is used to playing, because this isn't really Baker's MO. He's under center a lot. But guess what? Ain't nobody talking about Baker being under center.
Right. I hated that, man, last year. And it was like, well, you should put him in the shotgun the whole game. Like, this is the NFL. This is not Oklahoma. And he's not Lamar Jackson. He's not going to be an option quarterback. So, no, he can't be in the shotgun every play. Like, he's more comfortable. I was like, no, I've seen. See, the thing that I was the reason why I was defending Baker Mayfield the way that I was is because that I had seen flashes of him, like the Baker that we're seeing now. I saw flashes of that in 2018 and 2019. This wasn't consistent. So I knew what he was capable of. I was just like, just let everything marinate, let him learn this system. And at the end of the year, if he's still playing crappy and not showing any type of confidence, no accuracy, no consistency, all right, then maybe you have to go look at another quarterback. But I was like, but give him the year first. Give him the year before you try to run him out of town and see what happens. And now we're seeing everything starting to come to fruition, man. Like, this kid is taking complete control of this offense. You can tell he's the leader. Well, I won't say he's the leader yet, but he's one of the leaders on the team. I think along with him, Jarvis, Miles is emerging. I think Olivier Vernon is a good leader on defense too, a solid veteran. So we have a nice mix of veterans and young guys on this team. One thing I noticed today too, because Sendejo didn't play, I thought Carl Joseph played a really good game today. A really, really good game. So, Mr. Stefanski, when Sendejo comes back, he should be in the backup role. Just let Carl Joseph have that slot, because he was playing smart football today. And really, and in Sendejo's defense, the last 3 weeks, he hasn't done anything boneheaded necessarily. He hasn't.
He played awful last week.
Been playing all right. But Carl Joseph looked to be a lot more comfortable in that position. Having Denzel Ward back was huge. The Ward shut down that whole left side of the field. We didn't have to worry about that side. And for the most part, Terrence Mitchell didn't do anything. He didn't get beat over the top.
He had a pass defense today too.
We gave up a lot of stuff underneath, but nobody got beat over the top.
But it really helped having I couldn't agree more. Having Denzel back was I don't even know that there's words.
We just feel better when he's on the field.
Like I don't even like, man, this dude took Shepard basically out of the game.
Right.
I mean, and I'm not gonna give him Revis Island type of status, but he literally took Shepard out the game.
Look,
Like,
Denzel Ward could be out there in a wheelchair, and I'll still feel better with him out there than not having him out there.
He could be out there
Be the
with the Jack Dempsey boot on.
Right.
You know what I mean? With the half foot club shoe, and I'll be like, yeah, come on, Denzel, get him. Because one thing I know is that Denzel and Chris Collinsworth is one of the guys that we've always kind of loathed in Cleveland. He's a bango to the core.
I think he's a great analyst, though, man. As a color commentator,
well, again,
I think he's excellent.
Have we? I don't know that we've had that discussion on the show, but I know we've had this discussion. He is very good at analyzing the game because he's played the game. Like he really, his analyzation of the game when he's being fair is completely and totally spot on. Like there's no two ways about it. He's spot on. But he's sometimes very, very one-sided when it comes to the Browns because he's old school and he still has frustrations with the Browns because we used to beat them at least once every year.
Well, he played in the era when coming to Cleveland Stadium wasn't exactly a friendly experience. So
I know it. And
I'm sure he's been hit with dog biscuits, probably a couple of batteries.
At least 2 D batteries. At least
2 D batteries. Who knows what else they was throwing out the dog pound? They're probably throwing some razors out the dog pound. Like, who knows?
Look, and who's to say what his family had to deal with? Because there wasn't any loges and all that stuff back in the day. You sat
they sit out there with the common folk. Right.
So once they found out that was Chris Collinsworth's family, and you know, I'm going to always protect my Cleveland folks, but I also know my Cleveland folks.
Yeah, for those who don't know, for those out there in America that may not know, Cleveland has some of the most, well, not Cleveland fans, Cleveland Browns fans. Are some of the most ignorant fans on the face of the planet Earth. And we have the gall, we have the audacity that when we go some other places and people are jerks, we look at them and like, why are they being so? And we really have no right to judge any other fan base because we are awful. When it comes to other people coming in our stadium, we are absolutely, and people are looking, they can't believe the treatment that they get. And I just look at them, I'm like, you shouldn't have wore that ugly jersey up in here. If you just would have came in here with some regular clothes on and rooted for your team silently, you wouldn't be catching the hell that you catching right now. That's your fault for wearing that in here.
I'll tell you what, Sean, first of all, Sean believes that same description that he just gave you, America, Sean actually has put me in that description of people.
Yes, you definitely belong in that category. Persona non grata. When it comes to being ignorant at the Browns game. You ignorant in other people's stadiums. Just period.
He absolutely says so. He always says to himself like, bro, I just need you to, let me know when you're going to do blah, 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 such. And I always do something that makes him go, what are you doing?
Like running around Baltimore, flapping your wings.
Running
in their stadium,
like running through the concourse in M&T Bank Stadium. Is that
something
it?
like that? Yeah.
I was running through the concourse, flapping my wings as we were destroying the Ravens, and all of their fans were going home for the evening, and they were probably going to have a nice Sunday dinner. Not after they saw me, they weren't. I was
Hey,
I was absolutely letting them know that it was gonna suck for you guys. But but being that kind of a Browns fan, I've seen the worst of the worst. So whenever I get a piece, a little sliver of any good, I'm always like a little bit over the top. But I'll tell you this: most of mine is really good. The issues I give people are really. I'm just giving you a
yeah,
little.
it's no malice. It's no
I'm
malice.
yeah. I'm just giving you kind of a little bit of a ribbing. We'll laugh, we'll talk. I really just want a high five, and we just all keep it moving. Everybody makes it home safe. Everybody goes back to their families, their wives, their husbands, their kids, whatever, whatever. I just want to have a good time, and that's it. I
Right.
do know that there's some Browns fans that don't have that in their.
But you know what though? But I will say this: we are not Raider fan though. We
It's
are
no
not
way.
now.
Listen,
Now at the old Oakland Coliseum back in the day, there'd be stabbings, especially when they played. I don't know what it is when the Raiders would play the Chargers. Somebody always gets stabbed up in the stadium.
or the Niners, they would do the same
Right,
thing with the Niners.
right. But
You know,
now that's not us. Now it'd be a couple of fights. It may be something thrown or some curse words slang, but as far as somebody getting
but
harmed like
that's
that, no, we never went that far.
we don't try to leave the stadium with assault charges. Uh, but I think that's where Chris Collinsworth comes from. Though I agree with you. I think Chris Collinsworth starts from an angle of I remember getting hit with a cold ass. It was 20 degrees with 5 degree wind chill, and I got hit with this dog bone, and I couldn't feel my elbow for the rest of the game type attitude.
Right.
I think that's where he comes from, and he's also one of Sam Weiss's guys. So when Sam Weiss jumps on a microphone, it's oh, this isn't Cleveland. Listen, if you want me to come down to Cincinnati to choke you out, I will.
Right.
Because
We know you're not in Cleveland. You're in rusty ass Cincinnati.
you
That's exactly what that city is. Rusty.
and that's how we feel about Cincinnati here in Cleveland. We got no love. But tonight, I knew exactly where he was going, Chris Collinsworth being he. They were talking about the game and how many years the Browns have not been good or whatever. And the first name out of this dude's mouth, which I couldn't dispute, was Paul Brown. So as soon as he said it, I said to myself, here he goes with this Cincinnati crap. I knew it. Like in my mind, I was like, I knew he was getting ready to go there. And so Mike Tirico goes, oh yeah, oh definitely. It was on. He said, yeah, that was the great tie between the two teams, and XYZ, blah 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 blah. We got the better of that. I said, you know what, man? Right when you was making me feel like you was all right, I want to punch you in the face all over again, because that's who Chris Collinsworth actually is. But I love that because he epitomizes the rivalries from back then.
Right.
So when people say to me, "Why are you so mad at blah blah blah?" or "Why don't you root for this for the the Bengals?" or "Why don't you?" Ask Merrill Hodge what they used to do back in the day. Merrill Hodge used to say it every Sunday. I get my schedule and be like, "Oh, we play Cleveland. We play Cleveland that week. We play Cleveland that week." Like,
Those are the two games that he circled. Right.
he would just circle them. That's the AFC North, what used to be the AFC Central that I grew up with. So my disdain for Chris Collinsworth, my disdain for Ray Lewis, my disdain for anybody who commentates our games has anything to say about our games, it's always going to be that. I don't care about y'all, especially if
Exactly.
y'all going to hate. But they're going to hate because they grew up that way. So, but tonight, Collinsworth was giving us a lot of love
Yeah, he was fair.
because he
He was
had
fair.
to.
Hmm.
He had to. Like our team played well tonight.
And I think that now, because they haven't seen us play like this, so commentators now are like, wow, just even from this season, just it's like
Right.
night and day from game one till now. And I think they're just in kind of like in shock at the metamorphosis that they're seeing with this team. So, you
I
know,
mean,
man, it
think
was it
about
was, it was it was a good solid victory. Now we move on to the New York Jets. I'm glad they won today too. I actually watched a little bit of that game. I'm also
listen,
glad they won. So
listen.
now I did
Thank you,
not want to
Sean.
play them, and they still didn't have that monkey in their back. Now,
Thank you, Sean.
hopefully, they'll be thinking about Cancun next week.
Thank you, Sean. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And also thank you, Cancun, Mexico.
Right. Hopefully they'll
Thank
be thinking
you,
about
Sean.
Cancun and we can go in there and blow them out and get the hell out of there.
Because I said the same thing. I said, man, they beat the Rams. Thank the Lord. Because they don't have to come in, looking to beat the brakes off of us. Because, oh man, we got to get this win. And this is the last chance. And I
Right.
forget who they playing at last week. But of course, when the Browns come into anybody's stadium, their thought process is we can beat the Browns.
Right.
Because that's always been everybody's thought process. Correct? Correct.
Yep.
So everybody thinks getting a win against the Browns is easy, or it's a win that is we're capable of getting. I don't know who they play, in week 17, but I'll be honest, I am glad that they got that win today. That still does not take any less pressure off of us. We still got to show up. We can't. We do not want to be the Rams.
Right.
We don't want to be the team that underestimates this team. We still got to go in there. We still got to play hard. I think that Nick Chubb. I don't know why Nick ain't running so much. I don't know if his knees bother him.
He may be, you know what? Because I was thinking about that earlier.
Or what?
I think he may be a little nicked up, or Stefanski he may be preserving him too. He's like,
It could be.
if I can get away and win these games without, because remember, early in the season, it was all Chubb and Hunt. I mean, they carried a lot of the load. And maybe he's like, you know what? Maybe if I can preserve these guys a little bit and we can still win these games, then so be it. Because we all know what happens to running backs. Now, we all say, no, run the ball, run. But you look at the history of running backs, they can like just lose it like overnight.
They were out.
Yeah. We've seen the Larry Johnsons of the world, the Chris Warrens, guys that was getting 1,500 yards a season. They just disappear off the face of the earth, and you don't know where they went. Because their body gives out. Look at Zeke right now. You can tell Zeke ain't been in the league that long, but you can tell
he's had a lot of carries, man.
Yeah,
like they put a lot of carries on that kid.
Right.
So yeah,
you can tell. Todd Gurley is another one.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, there's no reason for them to give up on him, basically, and then move on.
I even know it's like the end of the game today. I saw like in that fourth quarter, that last drive to run out the clock. Kareem Hunt had kind of limped off, and they brought in Dearness Johnson. I'm like, well, where's Chubb? Like, is Chubb hurt?
They just listen. Ain't no sense at that point. We ahead.
Yeah,
and there's no reason to bring Chubb in to potentially get hurt. Because I'm gonna tell you what, having Chubb in that backfield scares the shit out of every defense on the planet Earth. And I just got out of conversations about that. Cats were, I think, and I'll put it up on the page, on our IG page, come tomorrow. But Brian Shazier said that while what's his name? Derrick Henry runs hard, and there's a lot of people that don't want to. He might be the best right now, the best running back in the game, and the guy that nobody really wants to tackle in the hole one-on-one is Nick Chubb.
Right.
And you know that because we know football.
Right.
I think Derrick Henry runs through easy holes because that's what Alabama running backs do. They just create down there in Tennessee the same type of holes. This kid's vision, Chubb's vision, is incredible.
It is.
It's incredible. Like his vision to know when to cut back or to know when to hit certain holes at certain times is second to none.
Right.
And
hey, Ron, here's something else to think about too, as far as Chubb and his carries. The Browns are just now showing really like all that analytical stuff they were talking about before the season started. They may have a chart. They may have a chart like, hey, you get to this point in time in the season, you got XYZ carries. That's when production goes down or whatever. So they all may be a part of that. Like, hey, we gotta preserve this guy because now you're seeing, because the way the Browns are calling plays now, what they're doing, you can see the computer geeks, whatever behind the scenes, you can see, and it's not all that bad. I used to hate that, but now I was like, okay, if you cross the 50, you're on a 39 and this 4th and 1, you should go for it.
Yeah,
in the past, everybody was like, yeah,
you're
it's
at
like
a spot in the game. Like the game is different. Like this is not the 1980s, 1990s football we used to see, where if you went, on 4th and 1, if you're at the opponent's 49, you don't go for it. But now you're like, well, hell, yeah, I could punch you into the end zone or I could punch you at the 20. I basically gave you a fresh start. Nope.
You're right, exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, it's a completely and entirely different thought process and how the game is approached anymore. And I actually don't dislike it. I like it. And I'm the most conservative cat when it comes to football. Like I'm sitting there watching the game like, no, we can't go for it. Now I've gotten into the spot where I'm like, and we just had this discussion the other day.
So you might as well. This 4th and inches, just
go. See, we just got into this discussion the other day about 2-point conversions. And I was like, no, I was good with that, which is rare for me.
Like, yeah, now that one, I wasn't cool with the 2-point conversion. I thought that was a little crazy.
Listen, they were like, man, no, what difference do it make? If we miss this, first of all, we've already had a jerk miss the damn conversion anyway. And then, so we may as well go for it, or we got a chance to go for it. It's 50-50 anyway, right? Okay, so they did. They didn't make it, or they did make it, so it was good. Thankfully, there was somebody behind, Hunt. DPJ was behind Hunt and was able to get that catch. But, of course, had everybody dropped everything, we would have been like, what a dumb play.
Right. Yeah, right. Hindsight is always 20/20.
Yeah, you're like, what a dumb play. But he made it. So we were like, yeah, good play.
Right.
Kept us in the game because jerk ass Cody Parkey, who missed another field goal today.
That wasn't his fault though.
It was his fault.
That wasn't his fault. That was Jarvis. Jarvis got to stop being hot-headed.
Listen. It was his fault.
It's a 48-yard extra point.
It was a 48-yard field goal. Can you not do that? Ain't that your job?
But those aren't gimmies, though. A 50-yard field goal is not a gimme.
But is that your job?
It's his job, but it's not his job.
That's your job.
But look,
come on, man. And listen,
you can't.
I'm not taking any heat. I want to make this clear. I'm not taking no heat off Jarvis. Jarvis got to stop doing dumbass shit to make shit harder for people. But you got to make that field goal. Because
All I'm
what if
saying
that
is
was
like
the
it's not.
but what if that was nah, man? I'm not giving
Those
nobody
are
no
all
excuse.
like a 48-yard field goal is all 50-50. I'm gonna give you an
I'm not
example.
giving nobody no
Hold on.
excuse.
No, hold on.
Had that been Tucker from Baltimore, he would have made that shit.
Well,
That's
those,
all.
but it's not too many Justin Tuckers that exist in
I
this
don't
world.
care. I don't
It's
care.
only if I'm
don't
gonna give
care.
you. I'm gonna give you a classic example of one of the things that I hate the most is when a team's, let's say you're down by 2 points, right? You're driving down the field, clock is running out, but you play for a long 48-yard field goal. Like it's an automatic, like it's a chip shot. And those aren't, all I'm saying is those are not chip shots.
I didn't say it was.
That's what I'm
I
saying.
didn't
But
say it
what I'm
was.
saying is in that
What I'm
scenario,
saying is you got one fucking job
it's
as
supposed to
a
be a
goddamn
chip
kicker.
shot.
Kick
I
the
don't blame
ball.
him for that. I blame the dude for putting him in a bad
I
position.
blame him for it because he missed a regular ass field goal the week before.
Yeah, that's
It's
the first
Cody
one he missed
Parkey.
all season.
It's Cody Parkey. He
That's
sucks.
the first one he
anyway.
missed all season. Like it's the reason why it's only like one kicker in the Hall of Fame. Because those guys don't come along. It's one whole kicker. It's one kicker and one punter in the Hall of Fame.
And here's what I got to say about that whole soliloquy that you just gave for every kicker that's ever played in the NFL. You got
Look,
one freaking job. I don't care where you got to kick it from. Kick the field goal.
so
You
if it
ain't
was
got
65,
no wind in that building.
so if it
There
was
wasn't no wind
65,
in that building, was it? Was it?
if it was,
Didn't he make field goals? Nope. Let me finish. Didn't he make field goals when the wind was whipping around, when it was all crazy in Cleveland? Yes, he did.
not 48.
Yes, he did. Now, I don't care if it was 48. He missed a 48-yard field goal with no wind tonight.
How you know it wasn't no wind in New
It
York?
wasn't no wind.
You know, it might have been a slight breeze. That
No,
easterly,
slight wind.
easterly breeze.
That's Cody Parkey. Do y'all want me to show y'all? I'm gonna give it. I'm gonna give it to all y'all. I'm gonna show y'all.
So basically, what you're saying is
Cody Parkey had in the playoffs when he played for the Bears against Philadelphia when he lost a playoff game. This is the same dude. It's the same dude that missed a field goal for the Browns in the year that we went 0-16. It's the same freaking dude. He just got lucky in all those early ends. I was like, man, I'm actually kind of like weirded out how good he's been. And now he's turned into his regular, not making field goal self.
No. What you're saying is no matter how far the field goal is, he's just supposed to make all of them.
What I said was, do you have a job? And our expectation in putting you on the field at this point is that you can make it. It's 40. It wasn't a 58-yarder. It wasn't a 68-yarder, was it?
A 48-yarder is not a gimme. That's not a gimme
get in his
field.
way?
To me, anything.
Block it? Did somebody almost block it?
To me, anything over 40.
I'm not giving you no pass. You don't get no pass.
Anything over 40 is a crapshoot at that point.
Cody Parkey,
unless
you don't
your
get
name.
No pass on me. If you want to pass, you call Big Sean. I'll give you his number later.
Look, unless your name is John Stenerud, who's the kicker for New England all them years? Alex, what's the name? Vinatieri. Unless your name is John Stenerud or Vinatieri.
Hey, Cody Parkey, if you want some sympathy, I will inbox me later. Cody Parkey's people.
I'm not giving the man no sympathy. I'm just saying,
Jarvis, and I'll give you
that doggone penalty.
I'll give you Big Sean's information, and he'll cuckoo you and make you feel better about you missing that dumbass field goal that you should have made, because you've made 85% of your goddamn field goals in your career, but you can't make that one today. And
all
now
I'm saying is Jarvis.
And now that's on Jarvis Landry. You should still make the doggone field
goal. If you know your kicker's a little bit shaky,
be steely, bro.
You should not be getting. You should not be getting dumb penalties to put your team to bed.
Getting dumb penalties. But here we are. So now, because I shouldn't be getting dumb penalties, I should just miss this field goal, right? because that's somebody else's fault? No.
You feel like he went up
No.
there and missed it on purpose?
No and no. Just miss it on purpose. Go ahead. Because it ain't my fault. It's
And why
somebody
are
else's
we
fault.
arguing about? We won the game when we arguing about the extra point.
I'm just telling you, Cody Parkey sucks, period. And I'm not going to not unsay that.
Yeah, now you see that in
Parkey
America. See, this is how quickly Browns fans will turn on one of their own for having a
No,
bad.
I'm not turning on
He
nothing.
didn't even have a bad day today. He had a bad week last week, and he had a semi-bad day. He missed the extra point today, but he made the other extra points, and he made his field goal.
So
he
last
was.
week was cool. He was cool last week.
No, I said last week was not cool.
Some stuff today was
I
cool.
said out of one
cool.
game, he had one bad
My
game.
bad, Cody Parkey.
He had one bad game, and everybody want to run him out of town for one bad game.
My bad, Cody Parkey. I was too hard on you, man.
One, this dude. Hold on.
I'm about to take
America. This guy has been money.
I'm about to take all season. Stance on you, Cody Parkey.
He's been money. He's been money all season.
Hey, Cody.
And he had one bad day, and everybody want to run him out of town.
This as much as you want, because it don't matter. I mean, it might be somebody else's fault. It might be your fault. It might be the wind's fault. It's all good, Cody Parkey. Keep missing them.
He had one bad game, and everybody want to run him out of town all of a sudden.
I'm not running him out of town. I'm just telling you he sucks.
That means you want to run him out. If he sucks, you don't want him
out of town. He sucks. Hey, listen, I'm not the general manager. He can stay here as long as he wants. But if I were the general manager, he wouldn't be here next year. Period. However, Cody Parkey.
We can go ahead and bring Austin Seibert back. Let's go get him.
Listen, we don't need Austin Seibert back either, because he sucks like Cody Parkey does. Cody Parkey stinks.
For one bad game.
Hit it really? One bad game?
This year. One bad game this year.
Okay. Well, one bad game might be the playoff game. So I'll tell you what, if we make it to the playoffs and he misses the field goal, don't you say shit. I don't want you to say shit.
No, I can say something.
No, you can't.
Yes, I can. Yes, I can. If he has a game.
No, he should. He's solid.
I didn't say that. Now you twisted my words. I did not say he was great. All I'm saying is he didn't really have he had a bad game last week.
And he had a bad game today when you
he didn't. He missed an extra point that wasn't even a regular extra point.
I'm not giving you no pass, Cody Parkey. You can get a pass from Big Sean. You're not getting no pass from me. Make the doggone field goals, bro. Period. That could be the game winner. We could not get to the playoffs, or we could get to the playoffs if you make that field goal, period.
Until the Browns stop getting dumb penalties
and I agree with that too, because I'm not against that either. See, that's the difference between me and you. I'm not picking no soft-ass side.
Ain't nobody picking no soft side. I'm just saying, a 48-yard field goal.
I get it.
It's not an easy field goal.
Jarvis, I love your passion. It ain't no easy field goal for your ass, and it ain't an easy field goal for me. But they pay that dude to make a 48-yard field goal. That's why they trotted his ass out there. Make the field goal, Cody Parkey. Period.
Look, that's enough argument. This is a fruitless argument.
It's not fruitless.
It is very fruitless.
And it's real, because Cody Parkey, you suck, and you need to make that field goal.
This is fruitless.
Trying to say. But if you're looking for somebody to stroke you and pet you and make you feel good about yourself,
now you see, now you see how he come with the backhanded insults. No reason over the kicker, but I'm taking a high road. They go low, we go high. You know what I'm saying? Like just backhanded insults over the doggone kicker. This is what it's come to. But look, let's go ahead and give out our game balls today. I'm only giving out 2. I'm giving a game ball to Baker Mayfield, and then I'm giving a game ball to the offensive line because we lost. We already didn't have Teller. Then Chris Hubbard gets hurt on the second play. And then I didn't even know who Nick Harris was. I guess we drafted him. I had no idea who this kid was.
I had no idea who he was like that.
He came in, and the offensive line didn't miss a beat. Baker was clean the whole game. I think he got sacked one time. They played an excellent game today. So I'm giving my game balls to Baker Mayfield, and I'm giving the other one to the whole. You know what? I'm just gonna single the kid out. I'm gonna give Nick Harris because that wasn't an easy position to be in. So I'm
Hell
gonna give
no,
him.
that wasn't no easy.
Yeah,
Like
I'm
that
gonna give
dude
him the game ball.
was against some interior linemen that were fierce
Right.
and had, you know, they were veterans. They were coming at him. So I agree with that. Yeah, for sure.
All right. Who your game balls going to today?
So my game balls are gonna go to. I'm actually gonna give 4, which is rare for me. I generally only give 3, but I'm gonna give 4 today. My first has to go to Baker. Baker was incredible today, and I tip my cap to him. You know, all those guys, all those people that give Baker the grief that Baker ends up getting for no reason. At some point, y'all got to stop. At some point, y'all have to understand and see. I mean, like the last little rant I had. Yeah, that's my rant, and I feel like I feel. But there's no way I could have that rant against Baker Mayfield. Like if I was on this show having that rant against Baker Mayfield for the way he played over the last, say, 6 or 7 weeks, y'all, the whole 6 of y'all would probably stop listening to us.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like you have to be honest.
We actually up to 6 now.
Well, I think you didn't see that. You didn't see us. You didn't see us
up in the world. Joe Rogan, watch out. Joe Rogan, we coming for that spot, baby. And we're coming for that number 1 spot. Right.
Look, we coming for the top spot, player. Y'all don't want to. Y'all don't want to see us. But the truth is, Bake played his tail off tonight. He only had 5 incompletions, 2 touchdowns, no picks, no fumbles. Like
didn't come close to turning the ball over. No risky throws, nothing. Everything was clean.
He was spot on, and that's another reason for shake and bake. That's behind me. That's shake and bake right there. Bake was shaking, and he was baking, and he was doing this thing. And I got to give him some love, and I got to give him the game ball, my first game ball anyway. My second game ball is going to go to Carl Joseph. Carl Joseph, I made some comments about Carl. I said that Carl really isn't and he's not. Let's be clear. He's not a cover corner. Carl Joseph is more of a blitz corner, a run-stopping corner. However, he did all of that today. He was a cover guy. He blitzed. He made some run stops. He was all over the field. He had 10 tackles, 2 pass defenses. I don't know. I mean, we may have still won the game without him, but bro, I got to get the dude some love. So Carl Joseph, you my guy today. And my third ball is gonna go to Kevin Stefanski for just having a much better game plan based on what my keys were. He was a part of my keys. Today he actually showed up, had a much better game plan, had a much simpler, attainable type of a game plan for the players than what he was doing last week. We were all kind of confused last week, but today, KS, you did your job, man. Salute, caps off to you. And I agree with you. The O-line, I was going to give it to the entire whole O-line. They got my 4th game ball, so I don't know if that's a split with somebody or not, but the O-line needs some recognition because I mean, if he got a grass stain, it was because he wanted to, Baker
right.
did. Like, it was nothing like what we're used to seeing in the past. Baker had time. Baker had all the time he needed. I don't care if it was 3-step drop, RPO, whatever, he had time. And shout out to that O-line, even without Wyatt Teller, even without what's the big fella name that got hurt? Hubbard. even with the rookie Nick Harris, these guys still showed up and they still made whatever block they needed to make. And we won the game because of it, and we're pretty much on the cusp of a playoff berth. We're basically a win away from it. If we
Right. And
win,
now, and I was looking at the playoff scenarios and I don't understand them because even with the win next week, we still don't clinch unless, the Colts and Dolphins lose. But I thought once we got to 11 and we couldn't, go over five losses,
well,
at that time. I'm like,
some of
we should
that
be
it's so many other factors.
right. But we have the tiebreakers with the Colts, we have a tiebreaker with the Dolphins.
Which is why I say if one of those dudes lose, we're in.
Right.
If one of those dudes
but it should be that if we just win, because if we tie, because the Colts have, well, no, I get it. Never mind. I understand now because the Colts only have 4 losses. So I get that. So we could still, if they could win 12.
If they win out,
Yeah. Right. Okay. All right. So basically, what we need
if we win next week, and so did Miami. Miami has
5
4 losses too.
No, they got 5.
Do they have 5? They have 5? Okay. But we didn't play them this year, did we?
No, but we have tiebreakers based on conference record.
Okay.
Something like that. So if
right now, right at this moment, at this particular moment, we've moved from the last spot into I think the 5th spot. I think we're in the 5th spot.
We're the top wild card.
Yeah, I think we're in the 5th spot with that win.
Right. So the Dolphins have the Raiders and the Bills left. So Miami probably they're not that good. They're probably going to drop one of those games.
I think they're going to lose next week to the Raiders, actually.
Right, and that's in Las Vegas.
And then
the Colts play the Steelers next week.
Yep, and I think they're going to lose that one.
I don't know who their last game is against. So most likely one of those teams.
The Steelers need to win that game to face us without the thought of,
right.
Having to fight that game out for the division.
But at the end of the day, if the Browns handle their business, I think if we beat the Jets next week, I think that's pretty much.
And that's it. That's what I keep saying. A win is a win. And if we can get a win next week against the Jets, we just continue to make other people have to figure it out.
Right.
It ain't
exactly.
us having to figure it out. We control our own destiny with winning. And if we have to go into the last week having to win to get in, then we just, that just is what it is. But, my thoughts are, when is the last time we've gotten into the week 16 with the potential of winning a game and going to the playoffs? So almost never, it hasn't happened since 07.
Right.
And even in 07, we knew we didn't really have no chance of winning. We should have won. This is legitimately the exact same play as 07. So we got to beat the Jets.
The only difference is, Cincinnati being a rival, they were looking to ruin our parade. The Jets.
Listen, here's what I got to say about that. And you know better than that. Don't you ever say nothing that reckless again in your life. And you know what I'm getting. You know exactly where I'm going. I know everybody's like, damn, why Ryan so aggressive? Nope. We know what happened that game. Derek Anderson threw 4 picks, and we all knew Derek Anderson was awful. And he went into that game, and all you got to do is just play a regular-ass game, bro.
Man.
He played the worst game of that season.
Chazinski called one of the worst games ever. It was a windstorm. It was like 40-mile-per-hour winds. It was raining. It wasn't raining that hard, but it was misty.
That game. 40-something times he was going
right. And you had Jamal Lewis back there. You could just handle the ball off to.
You had Tippy Toes, who had about 1,300 yards at that point. Just getting the ball.
And that was revenge from that. You remember that Lee Suggs game when Cincinnati was trying to get to the playoffs, and Lee Suggs ran for about 180 yards that
I
game and
was
kept
gonna
them
say
out the playoffs.
Lee Suggs came out of nowhere and ran. Another Georgia running back came out of nowhere and ran for about 100, almost 200 yards.
Man,
And
dude, go back and watch those games. The NFL has they've gotten lax on their licensing now, and you can pretty much watch almost any game from any year in full on YouTube.
Really?
So yeah, in full. I mean, you can watch anything. Like you can just put in a random Browns versus Falcons 1987.
I gotta go back. You know me.
And if it doesn't pull up the whole game, it at least pull up the highlights. They may even pull up the NFL primetime highlights from that game. So it's real cool. But the crazy thing is, when you just go back even 3 years and look at the Browns rosters and how like none of those guys are on the team no more, you forget about all the bums that have come to the turnstiles.
That's what I was
at
getting
First
ready to say.
Energy Stadium.
Are they on anyone else's roster though?
Some of them are. Like I was shocked to see Jabbar Sheard still in the league.
Yeah, he actually plays for the Giants.
Dude, Markevious Mingo was still in the league.
Yes, he is.
Played for Seattle.
Yeah.
The Fat Colt McCoy still hanging on. So there's a few of those guys still around.
These other teams decided to use these guys for what they were worth, not for trying to be something that they never
right, making them trying to make a Hall of Famer out of them.
Yeah,
right.
yeah. That was the difference, bro.
So, but it's crazy. But that just shows like the instability we had because we were turning over the roster every year. We were pretty much bringing in like a whole new crop of guys, and you can't get any continuity like that.
But
it's crazy.
But that's why when people will say, "Oh, we don't have any continuity at the coach," it's not just the coach that we don't have continuity at. We don't have continuity in what we want to do as a team. We don't have continuity at who we want to draft or where we want to draft at. Like, why is there always an argument in the war room? The war room needs to be the most kind of congruent place that you ever want to meet.
Right.
These guys need to be able to talk to you guys, and we all need to come to one complete decision. This is our guy. Like, you can't have a coach calling Deshaun Watson and then the team not drafting Deshaun Watson. Like, that can't happen.
Right.
That can't be what occurs.
Well, hopefully those days seem to be over, man. I want to get to the point, and we're starting to get there where we don't dwell on how bad we used to be. Like maybe we can finally put a match.
I don't want to do that no more, bro. I know I can go off on a tangent. I can be frustrated, but I do not want to talk about 2012. What happened in 2012? Who cares? We sucked.
I don't want to talk about. You know what? The Browns have been so bad that I used to be a computer when they came in my head when it came to stats, what our records were from year to year. The Browns have been so bad. All of it's a blur right now.
That's what I'm saying, bro.
It's so nondescript.
Who was the other guy? This is why me and you talked all the time. Because we could retain all of the things that happened in this game. We could retain all the things that happened in that season. We remember that one time when this one guy did this one thing. But pretty much from 07, actually 04 to 07, and then 07 to 2019, I don't remember shit. Like I almost did it to allow myself to go to sleep at night.
Right. Seriously. Like I'm not like I forgot.
No, I'm being look, I'm being serious, bro.
I forgot that DeShone Kizer started the whole season.
Man.
And that was just like 3 years ago.
It wasn't that long ago.
Then when you go back, like I said, I go back and watch some of these old games. I'm like, damn, he was here. He played a whole year. That's crazy.
I watched Browns games like this back in the day. I just start like this. Like I already know that the problems are coming. And I just sit there like this, like, okay. And I just wait. And my wife would always say, she would actually email the Browns. Thank you, Browns, for ruining my house this Sunday. That's how bad. That's how bad these guys have been. So forgive me, anybody who doesn't know that I've been following the Browns since I was 6, back in 1980.
But you know what's fun? What's fun is watching these other crappy teams now doing like horrendous stuff during the game. Like, you know what? That used to be us.
Yeah,
And it feels good not to be them anymore. I be watching Jacksonville when they be doing
I
some
was just
crazy
getting
stuff.
ready to say that.
And I was like, we used to do crazy stuff like that.
It used to be
Just,
us.
right.
It used to be
just
us.
do the most dumbest,
like
most inconceivable play that you can think of. Like, we used to do that all the time. And
the
now,
one thing we've never done is the butt fumble. That's the one thing, and I hope we never do. The butt fumble.
Did a butt fumble.
Mark Sanchez is the one guy who might have upped us.
No, but we did do. We played the Ravens on Monday night, and we got a field goal block to lose the game. They ran it back. The last play of the game was we were going for the game-winning field goal, wasn't it? And they blocked it and ran it back.
Ran it back and got the 2 points or the
something like that. Yeah, it was something crazy. Something crazy. But that's neither here nor there anymore. Like I said, we're not going to dwell on the negative. It's all positive going forward.
Nope.
So we go to the Jets next week. Hopefully, we go ahead and knock them off and clinch a playoff spot. So we will see what happens, man. So did you have anything else you wanted to touch on tonight in regards to the Browns victory?
No, actually, I want to say Sheldrick Redwine played decent this evening.
He did.
So I want to give him a shout out because I'm super hard on Sheldrick. I've said he stunk. I've said he is awful plenty on this show. And he actually played in place of one of the guys that Sean just mentioned.
Yeah, somebody else got hurt today.
Sendejo got hurt. So that's why he was on the field as much as he was.
Then Ronnie Harrison was still out too.
And Ronnie was out too. But Sheldrick is supposed to be the guy who does what Sendejo does, which is I can play run, I can cover, et cetera, et cetera. Generally, he can't. But today, he actually did a pretty solid job. Today, he did a solid job. He did it. And that's why I'm saying it. I'm not saying it to clown a guy. I know I'm hard on the dude. And this is why I say what I say. When I'm hard on people, I'm also going to give people credit when they do what I've said they couldn't do or think that they couldn't do. I'm just going to give you your props. So shout out to Sheldrick Redwine. My guy, you did a decent job today so that you can never, ever, ever in your life listen to this show fully and say that I just came for you. No, I didn't. I'm very fair. We are fair. I think that might be our new mantra. We are fairly fair. We are fair.
That sounds like some shady ass news network.
Yeah. Like we
Two
are.
guys in the mic.
Don't it sound like that?
Fairly
We are fairly fair. We try to make sure that we give everybody their props. We also run people through the ringer. But when you show up and you do the right things or you do the things that we expected you to do, we have nothing but love and respect for those guys because
got nothing but love for you, baby.
Baby. We can't do what you guys can do. So our thoughts and our hearts are that you can pull off what our inner care can pull off. Because if I was Cody Parkey, I would have made that field goal. That's how
we're not going. We're not going back to the Cody Parkey situation. Hopefully, he'll be better next week.
These field goals. Excuse me. I'm sorry. Cody Parkey. Make these doggone field goals and these doggone
Extra
PATs.
points.
Please, please, and thank you. That's all I need you to do.
This public service
And guess
announcement
what?
has been brought to you by Two Guys on the Mic. The thoughts and the thoughts and expressions of Ronald Pierce does not necessarily, you know the rest of it.
Yes, it does.
I'm too
Today
tired.
it does, Cody
I'm so
Parkey.
doggone tired right now. I can't even think of the rest of the spiel
So-
right now.
So I don't even know what's wrong with Sean at this particular moment.
It's a long day, man. I've been knee deep in cookie dough. I've been making cookie dough all day.
This dude,
I was
been-
making cookie dough during the game.
This
So-
is so listen, you guys, this is Christmas week as we mentioned earlier in the show. So we're gonna give you guys a short show on Wednesday. It's gonna be kind of short because we want to make sure everybody enjoys their holiday. I almost thought about not having a show, but
It
Then we
won't hurt
gotta
to have
get-
a little quick midweek show because we got a few things we need to
because
discuss.
there's a lot happening. That's
Yeah.
the only reason. It's a lot happening next week. So we got the Browns that have not clinched yet. So we still do have to talk about the Jets game. We also have to discuss the Ohio State situation that it was, but it'll probably be a quick show or quicker show. And then we'll move forward from there. But if you guys don't tune in, if you do, doesn't matter to me. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. If I don't hear from you guys before then, we'll say it again on Wednesday. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for seeing us, listening to us, dealing with us. Sean, again, thank you for allowing me. I know you always get irritated when I say this, but thank you for allowing me to interrupt your week and your day, because I could not do this goddamn show without you. I could, but it would not be nowhere near as funny. You bring a whole nother element to it. You know, you also keep me together and keep me in check. And I love that. For anybody who wants to get in contact with us or wants to follow us, we got Facebook, we got Instagram, Two Guys and a Mic TWO, Guys and a Mic 216. Come check us out. Come comment. We post all the time, actually. We post all the time. So come check us out. Comment. We'll comment back. Same thing with our YouTube page, Two Guys and a Mic TWO 216. And comment with us on there. Also subscribe. And then we also have our audio streaming, which is Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, as well as Anchor. Two Guys and a Mic TWO 216. Come check us out, man. Come holler at us. We're here again. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. If you guys don't check in with us before this the end of this week, but we'll definitely have product and content for you guys to come check out. Thank you. I love you, Sean. I love you too, man. You got
All right,
anything?
love you too, bro. You have a good Monday, and I'll see you on Wednesday, man.
All right, homie.
All right, everybody have a good night.